Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Jessie Hamble here from Orange Impression in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Jessie, thanks for jumping on with me.
Yeah, you bet.
I absolutely loved our talk before I pressed record today, and I'd love for you to share with people what you're doing in business. If you don't mind, can we get started with Orange Impression?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. When people ask you how you describe your business, how do you describe Orange Impression?
Probably the best way at this point, even though it has evolved some over the years, would be we're digital storytellers. So we use video, photography, and websites. We do some graphic design, but those three are primarily the things that we do to help businesses and organizations tell their story in meaningful ways that are compelling to their viewers or their clients.
So important, and it really does, when you focus on things like that, it really does leave an impression on the buyer or whoever they're trying to connect with. So very, very important. So you've got a long history in this kind of business. What were your plans when you started your business, and how have things changed? So I'd actually like you to talk a little bit before, in the late 90s, what you're doing, because it's pretty fascinating. Do you mind?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. So in high school, which was a long time ago, 1999, I was in a mass marketing class. And one of the things that they had just started at our school was working on web development. And so I was one of the first people to work on my high school's website, which is Turtle Lake. And after doing that, of course, it was HTML and a lot of really poorly designed graphics back then. But after doing that, I just started to have I really liked it, and so I started selling websites. And so in high school, as a senior, I sold my first website to my biology teacher. His wife did rug hooking, and so we created a site for her and her products. And then I also sold a website to the village of Turtle Lake. So I went to one of their village board meetings, and it was their first website that sort of told the story of the town, as well as held different things like board meeting minutes and important business information. From there, I learned all kinds of different ways to sort of scale that, which was sort of fun to have a blank canvas like that. And so by selling that website to the village board, I was able to sell a lot of different websites to businesses in Turtle Lake as well. So it sort of all started back in high school, both my love for digital storytelling and content creation, but also, just kind of the idea of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. I love that. And we're at such an interesting age when you were like first starting to work on that. And I mean, from a timeline point of view, but also from your age, you're this young, creative, just energetic person. So it's absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that. And now, how has it changed? You started Orange Impression in 2008, correct?
Yeah, so Orange Impression started in '08, though I had done a lot of freelancing up until that point. That's when it really sort of became official. But really, for the majority of its existence, Orange Impression was really a glorified side hustle. So it was another stream of income for me and my family to be able to do things, and to, I guess, pay our bills certain months, depending on what was happening. And so yeah, it started in 2008, and really one of the, I guess, maybe good things, but also struggle points with Orange Impression is we've always done everything. So if somebody asks us to do X, we're probably going to say yes, or we always had in the past said yes. We'll design you a logo, and we'll shoot your senior photos, and we'll, build a video for your company or a commercial, whatever that might be. And so by doing that, we built a lot of relationships with a lot of amazing people. But I think, throughout the years, we've really found, I think the term would be like mission creep, like we're just kind of all over the place. But today we're starting to work, I guess backwards reverse engineer to say, like, who do we want to be? What are we really good at? And most importantly, what are we most passionate about in regards to design and content creation? So
Well, and I think that's hard when you are a creative. You get a certain amount of joy out of creating so many different things and being in so many different areas, because it never gets boring then. But there's also those shiny pennies that our coaches talk about, like, that's a shiny penny, don't go chase it, don't go chase it, it's just a penny, right? So finding that balance is really important. I think it's cool that you've been able to do that, have that experience, figure out like you said, what you're really good at, and then also what you want to do. So that's awesome. Congratulations on moving forward that way.
Thank you.
So obviously you love your community. You've been working in your communities since you were in high school. What is the biggest way that you impact the community that you're currently working in?
I think probably my favorite thing, and it's this time of year that I do a lot of, is I shoot football hype videos for high schools. And, I don't know necessarily how much it helps the community, but it certainly, I feel like gives a lot of confidence and it brings a lot of excitement to some of these young athletes, which I was at one point. Like in high school, I played football, and there's just a lot of different emotions and memories that come along with being a part of a team, and things like that we really don't have that once we get older. At least that's what I've experienced. It's so much different. And so one of the things I really like to do, and often will do just as part of community service, if you will, is I'll show up to a high school football game with full camera gear. We'll shoot a video, and then we'll flip a video out within the next couple of days that's high energy, that the students or the athletes love, the coaches love, and the parents love. And it's just sort of a keepsake that they get to kind of keep as they go on throughout life. And that's been really cool and very rewarding. And it's also something that I would say I relate to. And so that's been fun for sure.
That is so cool. And, I read something recently about, some people don't think like, oh, it's just sports, but sports teach so many people how to work together, how to persevere, how to lose, right? How to push the limit and know the limit. So really, really cool that you can give them this positive energy and video and really gift for the whole community. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So what is one challenge that you have faced that other business owners can learn from?
I mean, I would say, as someone who's very motivated, and like we kind of talked mission creep, I think it's probably a time management issue for me. I have a lot of things going on all of the time, and I think having a family, having a business, and then within that business, so many different avenues and things going on, just busy a lot, and it can be. Obviously, if you have too many things pile up, that can be stressful. But I think the biggest stressor is just feeling overwhelmed. And so I think what I'm working on now, that if I could go back, 10 years and just say, focus on the projects that are life-giving and then just trust the process, right? So instead of feeling like I have to take everything on, I have to do it just to make sure I'm going to be able to pay my bills. I would say focus on the things that really bring life, the things that, make me want to get out of bed in the morning or make me want to stay up past what I would consider bedtime. Those are the things that I would say, like, find those and lock into them. And I think for me, that's sort of what I'm coming into. Even though I'm getting older now, it's recognizing what those things are, and just grabbing onto that. And fortunately, I think, even though it has been difficult having those, that many things on my plate and having a lot of projects to work on, there is experience that comes along with that. And so I think once I like really, really land in my quote unquote niche, then it will be, that experience that I have gained or have will certainly help as I move forward, and pressing into that. But I would just say, look at what your niche could be or what you want your niche to be, and really, really focus on that and trust that process.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that focus. It's so important. And then we look back and we think that experience made us part of who we are. But at the same time, what could we tell our 20 or 25-year-old, our 30-year-old selves, or, or who can we share that with? So thank you so much for sharing that to share with other entrepreneurs. What does the future look like to Orange Impression? And do you have an exit plan? Now you are still young, so you've got a lot of years left. What does the future look like?
Well, I think that there are a lot of factors with the future when you start to look at AI and you look at all of these different things that are coming out, and the competition in the content creation world just continues to go up, because I think that's the economy that we live in. I think we're going to continue to see more and more content come out, and more people trying to, I guess, get a piece of that pie. For me, I think it goes back to what we just talked about, and it's really niching down and figuring out what is it that makes me excited. And I do think there is a market, at least in some capacity, with some of these sports hype pieces. I really do like event photography and videography. So we do some work with different music festivals and things like that. And that's been rewarding as well. So I think it's, for me, it's probably going to be more like event and sports content creation over just, like the standard run of the mill, like, hey, I'm looking to sell a social media package to X, Y, or Z. Like I like those bigger events and I like working on a lot of those different projects like that. And then of course, the other clients that we do work with when it comes to creating content that tells their story. We have so many amazing clients that we get to work with where we just get to tell stories. We did a lot of work with a company called Cheese Brothers in Barron, Wisconsin, and they're a nationwide company and they ship cheese all over the place. But it's their story really that makes them super compelling and how they got their start. And so I mean, I think it really just goes back to things that we're most excited about is just telling stories for people.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. So one quick question. You worked with Cheese Brothers, so that is in Wisconsin. Do you work with any companies outside of Wisconsin, or what's the radius that you really like to focus working on? Because I know you're doing a lot of event stuff, sports stuff, music.
Yeah, so we have a lot of clients throughout the Midwest. So we do work with some folks in Minnesota. There are some in different states, but I wouldn't, consider it a region that we have saturation in. It's just like there's a great company out of Memphis, Tennessee that we do work with. Minnesota, Iowa, there's a few different nonprofits that we work with that have offices, in different parts of the country. But I would say the primary kind of region that we're in would just be the Midwest, and probably maybe if you think of Eau Claire, like 100-mile radius, from city center would be probably what we would do. That'd probably be our best description of where we're at. So.
Thank you so much for answering that. So my final question for you today, Jesse, is all subjects open. What inspires you most?
Great question. Probably like a compelling story, like the ability to hear a story of, maybe it's the underdog or yeah, I think it's really just a compelling story that I would be able to help someone tell. And whether that's high energy, in some sort of a sport or event video or content creation or photography too, for that matter, or being able to tell a story similar to like I've done with different companies like Cheese Brothers or different nonprofits that are doing really good work that have made huge life impacts, in some cases have saved people's lives due to the cause that they have.
Sharing those goosebump moments is pretty powerful. So well, thank you so much, Jesse, for sharing Orange Impression, for sharing your history. If somebody wants to get in contact with you to see how you could help them, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, just orangeimpression.com, and there is no S after impression. We have that happen a lot. So orangeimpression.com, and you can check out some of the work that we do on our website. Also, you can check us out on social media as well. We do post occasionally, not as often as we should, but yeah, check us out online. And if there's something that's appealing, we'd love to have a conversation to see if we'd be a good fit.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Keep growing and have an amazing year.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Bye.
See ya.